David Thrifty Mechanic here to kind of talk to you a little bit and gab at you about what it takes to be a salesman. Now, when you think salesman, you're like, oh, well, you work in the service industry, right? Well, yeah, I do both. I work front end as well as service. So on days they need me up front, I'll work up front, and on days they need more technicians in the back, I work in the back. So I get paid a higher wage to do that because I do both. Anywho, moving forward, um, as a starting sales rep, you have expectations, you have thoughts and ideas, and you think that, oh, I'm going to be a great salesman and I'm going to be honest with my customers and all that stuff, and that's great. You need to keep that mindset because a lot of people lose it, and when you lose that mindset, that's when bad habits form and things happen, and all of a sudden you sell something that doesn't need to be sold and you lose your job. Anyway, um, so first thing you need to do when a customer comes in the door, say it's your first customer ever, and you're trying to be as cool as possible, make it look like you've done this 1,000 times before. Talk to them. Welcome to Rogers Automotive. My name's David. What can we do for you? I need an oil change. So based on their description and based on their attitude, you can kind of get a lot about them. Look at their clothes, look at what they're wearing, kind of gauge on how you're going to speak to them. So if you speak to a guy who's in like a suit and all that stuff, you want to start saying like, oh, yes, sir, we could definitely do that for you. If you need anything else, sir, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'll gladly help you as much as you need. Stuff like that, they eat that up. That makes them feel powerful. Businessmen love feeling powerful. Just remember that. If they dress in normal clothes like you do, talk to them as a normal person. If they dress like they just got out of working on the job, like they work as a construction worker, and you can tell because they're covered in concrete dust, talk to them like a normal man. Be like, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? That stuff, people respond to that. They appreciate that stuff. And if you speak to them like a human being, not as a checkbook, then they tend to respond to you better too. So when you finally talk to them, you see what they're wearing, you know how to kind of address them. Now you got to gauge their attitude. You got to look and see how they're coming in. Like if they come in with a decent attitude, okay, maybe I can sell some stuff to this guy. He seems like he's more understanding of like what we do here and all that stuff. So you gauge your customer. Gauge them, see what they're wearing, how they're acting. If they act like kind of standoffish, you gotta shell out a little bit of stuff. You gotta make it worth their while, if you know what I mean. So making it worth their while, what I mean by that is if they're coming in for something simple like an oil change and you find some stuff on their car, guess what? Now's your chance. Here's what you need to do. It works, it's proven, and it helps. It has helped me sell so many services that I didn't think I was going to sell otherwise. You got to add stuff to it. Say they need brakes. Say, well, I tell you what, man. If you do the brakes on your car, 4-wheel, we'll throw in a free rotate and balance for you. We'll rotate the best tires to the front and balance them. And then that's going to get the clocks working up here. And they're going to be like, that's not a bad deal. I needed to get them rotated. And I get them balanced for free. All right, I'll do it. So, next thing you know, you sold a, say, $600 job and you're losing $40. You probably lose that anyway. But it's doing little things like that make the customer enjoy being there. They're like, oh, they're not just here for me. They're looking out for me. They offer me all this extra stuff on top of what I might have gotten. So that's important. You have to work with them. And I guess, you could think, oh, it's a little bit of a manipulative thing, but that's what sales is. You can't, if you sat there and told them, hey, your car needs this, do you want to do it? No. Okay. And go about it. That's not how you make money in this business, because you got to convince people. You got to let them know, look, we're not here to rip you off. We're here to do this job for you. We're here to make it right. So you have to make it right, and you have to fix it. So by adding small things like that, eating a little bit, you make off with more. So instead of sitting there trying to sell them on a $40 rotate and balance and make your tire techs hate you forever, sell them on brakes. And when they're sitting there and they seem like they're on the ropes about doing brakes, tell them, I'll rotate and balance your tires for you too. I'll air them up and we'll get you squared away. And they're like, all right, cool, let's do it. So you might have lost $40, but you made $600. So you make $540. That's just the best start. And then the next thing that you need to gauge, and this is kind of important, is what they're driving. So like if a guy comes in, he's a businessman, he comes in with a freaking 1983 Pontiac Fiero and it's a rust bucket, he's probably not going to sink any money into that. Sometimes you'll get the white Buffalo. I call them white Buffaloes because it's just like, what is going on? You'll get the white Buffalo. And basically what they'll do is they'll have this piece of junk car. It looks like it's falling apart, but you tell them, hey, you need a cradle, you need ball joints, and they'll just be like, okay, do it. And you're just like, what? What'd you say? Do it? Yeah. Don't you want to know how much it is? No, do it. Okay. So you write them up for the ball joints, and you write them up for the cradle, and you do all that stuff. You write them up for an alignment, and so you gotta. When they're just so quick to do that, you feel obligated to give them some value. So you tell them, hey, since you did all that stuff with us, we appreciate it. Here's a coupon for a free oil change from us. Here's a tire rotation and a rotate and balance. I mean, when somebody's so quick to do something like that, you want to reward them, because in this world, rewards mean habits, and when you get habits by giving rewards, people are more likely to come back. So this guy who thinks he's just shelling out $1,500 for nothing is now feeling like, man, these guys take care of me. I like that. And next thing you know, you guys got a customer for life, and that's huge. In this field, the average customer, according to Charles Sewell, who makes a book called Customer for Life, it's paramount. When you treat your customers with respect, you're honest with them, and you give them the value that they need and want, you make a customer for life. The average customer spends $500,000 on cars. They buy $500,000 worth of cars throughout their lifetime. On top of that, they spend another $300,000 or so or more on servicing their vehicles, buying tires, buying brakes, buying basic maintenance stuff. So $800,000 on the table right there, and at least $300,000 of it is service. So if they got a brand new car and they take it from the moment they buy it to you to the moment it dies, you did good, and you probably made, say, a third of it, or a tenth of it, or whatever crazy number it is. So just remember that, guys. There's a bigger scheme to things here. It's not just making that one sale. Sometimes you got to soften them up. You don't want to sticker shock them. You got to tell them, instead of writing up an entire humongous ticket, go with a small thing and then work your way into it. Be like, well, we did notice that you had a couple belts cracking. You had a few other things too. Let them come to you. Well, what are the other things? Well, you got a ball joint that's loose right now. It's not super bad, but it's definitely something that needs attention. Well, how much does that run? And do the math right there in front of them. Like, use your calculator, type in how much the part costs, how much labor, tax, and all that stuff, shop supplies, and tell them, like, look, it's going to be $205.55. And they're going to be like, that's it? Yeah. That and the oil change? Mm-hmm. Would you like to do the belts too? Are you interested in doing the belts? Because that's really the main concern right now. Is those belts are really bad. The ball joint's pretty bad, but it's really important, and you need to do these belts too. Would you like to just do it all in one shot? That way you don't have to come back for a while, so you don't have to spend any more money, and act like you're on their side. Because really, we're not out to kill people. We're not out to hurt people. we're just trying to do our job, and doing our job happens to be selling parts and selling services. So sometimes you gotta walk them into the valley of the shadow of death. So a lot of times they'll be kind of like standoffish. If you write up this big huge ticket, spend 20 minutes writing this ticket up, and they're not going to do it. But if you follow those 3 things that I told you earlier, look at what they're wearing, look at their attitude, and look at what they're driving, you'll pretty much save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of time, 80 to 90% of the time. Obviously, there's going to be a few exceptions. You get the businessman coming in with a piece of junk car that means a lot to him, the white Buffalo, and spends a whole bunch of money maintaining this car, and you're just like, what? So that's just, it's a fact of life. You get people that don't look like they have a dollar to their name who are richer than can be, and you get guys who look like they're richer than can be driving really expensive cars who don't have a dollar to their name because they're spending it all on this car. So you're just like, well, what's going on? And so keep that in mind when you're selling parts and you're selling work. Just keep it in mind that everybody's different and no one person is the same. So you got to gauge everybody differently. You have to adjust and adapt to the situation. If the guy comes in, he's agitated, probably not the best idea to try and sell him something. Let him know that there are a few problems with his car and you think that they should be addressed eventually. Kind of push him off, that way he feels like, okay, no pressure on me, and it cools him down. Then you talk to him and he might even push you, be like, hey, what needs done to my car? Then you let them know. So if you want more videos like this, guys, I don't mind talking about the sales part of things. I mean, I know a lot of us are technicians here, and we like to hear about services. We like to hear about ways to save money, but it all starts with the service tech, the service rep. It all starts with him, because if he's not saving you money and he's not making you money, you're not making money, and that's not a good thing either. So I'm David, Thrifty Mechanic, guys. I'm also David, the Thrifty Salesman. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Please comment with difficult customers that you've had before, or comment with experiences you've had where a customer has really just wowed you. Because I think the craziest I've had was a guy came in with a Pontiac Fiero. I guess it was his dad's car, and he was in his 30s. And the car wasn't much older than he was, and I think he was 30 and the car was an 84 or something like that. I don't know, I can't remember. He came in and he was just like, hey, my car sounded funny, can you fix it up for me? So we said sure, and we took it around the block, looked at it, found a few things wrong. Get under there and you see that the cradle's just wobbling around, you see that the ball joints are blown out on it, and you see all this different stuff, and you walk up front and you're expecting a big hell no. And then this guy wows you and you're just like, yeah, I mean, it's probably not worth it. He was like, well, no, how much is it? What is it? What's wrong with it? He was like, well, I mean, you got ball joints that are bad. You got a cradle, and that's the main concern, is the cradle is about to fall off. The bolts are rusted off. You're probably better off getting a new cradle. And he was like, okay. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Sir, this costs more than the car's worth. He was like, I know, but this car means a lot to me. It's my father's car, and I want it running forever, like my father did. He kept going and going and going, and I lost him. So, people develop emotional attachments to things, and vehicles are one of them. And when your dad buys something, or somebody you're really close to buys something, and you have a lot of good memories with them in it, or with it, they want to keep that. They want to keep that excitement and keep that little sense of that person with them. Because when you lose somebody, it's the worst feeling in the whole wide world, and the only thing you want is to have them back. And sometimes when your dad gets you into cars and you lose your dad, unfortunately, you tend to want a little piece of that back. And so you try to find that car that your dad had, that he got you loving cars with, and you'll do anything to keep it. So always remember that stuff, guys. It's really important to think about who you're talking to and gauge the customer based on the situation, not the person. So I'm David, the thrifty mechanic slash salesman slash do it guy. Have a great day, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your white buffalo, and I'd love to read it and hear it. See you later.